breathe, breathe, breathe. Guys, it could be happening. It really could be happening. I hate the transfer market. I hate it. But I love it in the same way. Manchester United have agreed a deal to sign Paulo Dybala in exchange for Romelu Lukaku from Juventus. I don't believe it. I don't believe it. I can't believe it. I can't believe it. This don't make sense. This is supposed to be a window that was just dragging, disappointment after disappointment, rumours upon rumours, but no end product. Yeah, we got Daniel James. Yeah, we got Aaron Wan-Bissaka. But then what? It's just rumours. But this is happening. It might be happening. I ain't saying it's done, because it ain't done. Until I see that man in the Man United red. It ain't done. But the deal has been agreed. The deal has been agreed. Sky in Italy are reporting that the deal in principle between Man United and Juventus to say, you give us Lukaku, we take, you give us Lukaku, we give you Dybala, and we can get this deal over the line. Now, the sticking point, of course, is the fact of the two players. Does Lukaku want to play for Juventus? And does Dybala want to play for Man United? Now, I would suggest that Dybala playing for Man United is more of a sticking point than Lukaku playing for Juventus. Juventus are, 8 times winners recently of the Serie A, Champions League finalists in recent years, always getting to latter stages. They've recruited very, very well in the summer. The likes of De Ligt, Rabiot, Ramsey, of course, Ronaldo the year before. They are on a mission to claim that Champions League. Lukaku would be a fool not to want to join that side. Added to the fact that Sarri doesn't see Dybala in his plans. For whatever reason, I'm not the manager, I'm not the boss, but Sarri don't see Dybala in his plans. So he's willing to get rid of him to get someone like Lukaku, which it surprises me. It really does, because Lukaku in Sarri ball, maybe, not sure. Doesn't really seem like that guy is gonna play that kind of link-up play that you'd want from your number 9. Sarri actually loaned Higuain when he was at Chelsea in the last 6 months from January, and Higuain's back at Juve. So you'd think that he's got the striker he wants, but no, seems like it's Lukaku. Now, whether Lukaku's always going to be a starter is another issue. That's one of the main reasons why he's leaving Man United, because he can't be guaranteed to start. Solskjaer said that to him. But you think if he's going and they're swapping Dybala, a player of that quality, you'd think he'd be pretty near the starting lineup. But as I said, Lukaku will be a fool not to go. Now, obviously, we know Inter Milan in for Lukaku pretty much all summer, but they ain't stamped up the cash. We set the price at 75 million. That's it. And I'm happy we stuck to our guns, because too long we have had our pants pulled down in transfer fees paid and received. And we said, no, you want a striker, you pay what we say. The same way when we wanted Perisic, you weren't letting anything go for the extra 5 million euros, 4.5 million pounds that you wanted. And we didn't get the player. So you pay up. Now, the highest bid that they put forward was about 63 million up front, with 5 million in bonus. Short of the required amount, probably around 10 million short. I'm saying 75. Some sources have said 79. So let's meet somewhere in between. So they're probably about 10 million short. Now, because of that, penny pinching, you might say. Now, I know they've got financial fair play to deal with, but because of that penny pinching, they allowed their rivals to nip in. If they got this deal done ages ago, everything could have moved on. Lukaku would have gone, Man United would have had money to buy maybe someone like Bruno Fernandes, etc., etc. But they've stalled, and it's allowed Juventus to sneak in with their own offer. That offer, as I said, is Paulo Dybala. Now, if you had to give me a choice whether I take the 75 million or Dybala, I take Dybala. Because I would say Dybala is probably just worth a bit above, maybe around the 85 million, 90 million mark for his services. Additionally, the questions are asked about whether or not if we sell Lukaku, do we need to replace him? Well, if it's a straight swap, you don't need to worry about that because that is the replacement. Dybala can play as a striker. He's not a traditional number 9. He can play behind the striker, and it can also come in from the wide right position. So it covers a lot of bases in a flexible 3 that Solskjaer would want. So he definitely seems like a player that Solskjaer could utilise. As I said, the question is whether he wants to play for Man United, whether he wants to leave the Juventus and that promising project for a Europa League team. A team that has been struggling in recent years, a team that is in transition and trying to get back to the top table. That's the deal that's what he's having to deal with and to really think about. Now we know Spurs were in for, or are in, possibly still in for Dybala. They had put forward a 50 million euro bid for him earlier, well maybe about a week ago or so, which was rejected because they value him around 90 million euros. And maybe Spurs penny pinching, if that's the right word, if they've got the cash, it's going to cost them in terms of that purchase. They've only bought Ndombele so far this summer. It's a massive deal. If this goes through, without a doubt, the signing of the transfer window, without a doubt. Pepe, Rodri, Ndombele, whoever you want to talk about, even Griezmann to Barcelona. I think the only thing that may top this would be Neymar going back to Barcelona. Even Hazard to Real Madrid. Because this has come out of the blue. It really has. This was not on the table. Man United really had no intention of going for Dybala. It's only through Juventus' interest in Lukaku why this Dybala deal is now even on the table. And as I said, it's been agreed. Some reports, I can't verify these sources in terms of what I'm going to say next, is that he's requesting 10 million euros net per year. That equates to me about 18 million pounds gross, which is it's over 300,000 a week. That's a lot of money. It's a lot of money. That would put him on par with what the Hair's new contract is gonna be once he signs it, once he's back in Manchester. Obviously less than Alexis Sanchez, but more than Paul Pogba. And I don't think that we should be signing any player, or any player we sign, unless it's Messi or Ronaldo or Neymar, should be getting more than Paul Pogba. David De Gea, of course, is already there, and he has earned that transfer, that wage fee. But Pogba is our best outfield player. No player, realistically, that we sign should be getting more than him. So it would concern me if we were to give him 300. But I said those sources are unverified. Dybala has to consider whether he's willing to sit on the bench at an elite club, playing at the elite level, versus starting week in, week out for one of the biggest clubs in the world, but one that on the pitch has fallen a level behind, is in transition. That's what he's having to deal with. I, for one, hope this deal goes through. But I hope it goes through for the right reasons. Not because we've paid him an extortionate amount, 350. But because he is willing to be involved in this project. He's willing to be, you might say he wants to be the star player to get Man United back to where they used to be. I want him to play for Manchester United because he wants to play for Manchester United. Now, I understand he wants to remain at Juve. But once he comes to the realization that they don't want him, I want his heart to be in the job at Man United. I ain't saying he has to kiss the badge or any of that nonsense. But I don't want him to be another Di Maria where we know he wanted to go to PSG. He only came to Man United because Real Madrid accepted our bid, which was higher. Therefore, not saying he came based on money, but the deal was done based on money. He had to leave Real Madrid. We were the only one there for him. If that's the case with Dybala, you could end up with a very similar situation like that, where after a year he's looking to move again. If this transfer goes through, it's massive. It's massive. It's not the only thing though. It's not even the most important, I would say, piece of business that we need to do in the next week. I think this week coming up will define our season. This for me will be the difference between getting back in the top 4 and finishing 6th. If we can get 2 out of the potential 3 deals that are on the table over the line. Now, earlier today, it was actually yesterday, DiMarzio reported that the Maguire deal is very close to completion. Around £80 million, the total package, which equates to about, say, 70 or 75 million or so. So, sorry, £80 million including add-ons. I think it's about probably 75 million up front and 5 million add-ons. Man United are trying to get that initial fee lower than the 75 million. I think it's probably something to do with the fact that they don't want it to be a record transfer for defender. He's going to be compared with Van Dijk anyway because of the money he spent and the fact that he's now playing for an elite club. But it reminds me of when we signed Berbatov from Tottenham about a decade ago. Man City were willing to pay a record fee, which was about £32.5 million at the time. We bidded 30.75, so just under 31 million. And he wanted to come to Man United, which was the first thing. But also, we didn't want it to be a record transfer because it puts an additional pressure that's already going to come from playing for Man United. We signed him for 30, just under 31. Then later on in the day, actually, Man City signed Robinho for 32. So we could have been on this. It was actually the same day. I can't remember which deal came first, but it was a case of this is not going to be a record transfer. So I think maybe the initial fee that we're bidding is trying to reflect the fact that no, it might rise to 80 million, but as it stands, it is less than Van Dijk's 75 million. Additionally, we're just trying to get the best deal, and the price that Leicester are quoting has kept increasing throughout the summer. And this is what's held up the deal. Maguire and his agent representatives are getting frustrated because Leicester are playing very, very much hardball and dragging this out. I'm sure he would have wanted the pre-season with Man United, getting to know his teammates and the manager, etc., etc. Now it's looked like it's going to the wire, and the most he's going to get before the season starts is maybe a week. If he gets one pre-season game with us, he might be lucky. But once the deal goes over the line, I think that's the most important thing, regardless of when it happens. The other transfer, as I mentioned, is Bruno Fernandes. DiMarzio also tweeted that deal is very close. That's what he says, very close. And respect to journalists, doesn't get many transfers wrong. Of course, he gets some of them wrong, but he doesn't get many transfers wrong. It's one that's been rumbling all summer. The main problem being that he hasn't released clause, as we know, of £31 million. But it's a release clause that if they reject that bid, they have to pay him £5 million. So effectively, the cost of not signing Fernandes, i.e. a rejected bid, to Sporting is about £36 million, i.e. the money they didn't get, the 31, plus the 5 they had to pay out. But they're saying he's worth more than that. So they're willing to forego that loss, so to speak, opportunity cost, to get a bigger fee. They valued him around the 60 to 75 million pound mark, or euro mark. And that is what I guess, that's again the sticking point has been in terms of finding that median, that value that both clubs are happy to accept. My issue is we move too slow. We just move too slow. These deals should have been done. What are we penny pinching for? Yes, we need to get the best deal, but also we need to do what's best for the manager and best for the club, and that's to get those deals over the line. I read that we only do one transfer at a time. What kind of incompetent footballing business is that? You can only do one transfer at a time. So you can't pick up the phone and call one, and when you put that down, call someone else. You can't send 2 emails in a day. One transfer, what kind of... It's that incompetent behaviour that Man United fans are so frustrated by. Why we've missed out on... You might say probably why I missed out on many transfers. Because we didn't know how to do business. Oh, let's just focus on this one. And when that doesn't go through, the player who was your second choice has gone somewhere else. It's just really been poor. It's been a frustrating window. But it could all turn around next week. As I say, patience is a virtue. We have to wait and see. But if we were to get at least 2 of those signings, I'll be very, very, very confident about getting back into the top 4. If we get all 3, for me, it's a no-brainer. All bets are off. Man United back in the Champions League at the end of next season. More Man United news. Not so good news is that Eric Bailly has been ruled out for 4 to 5 months with a knee injury suffered against Tottenham. Had an operation on that, and he's now out for 4 to 5 months. So that makes that Maguire deal even that more important, and may mean that certain defenders who we wanted to see go, the likes of Rojo, may not go. But I think we can still let him go, because with Maguire, Smalling, Jones, Lindelof and Tuanzebe, I don't think you need Rojo. You don't need him. But it is a shame. Bailly, we know the talent of the guy, but if your body can't hold up, then you're not cut out for it. It's as simple as that. And it's sad. Every time he's come back, he's looked good, put in impressive performances, and then he's out injured again. And he's still a young guy, so it's not the end of him, but it could be the end of him at Manchester United, because there's only so long you can carry a player through these kind of injuries. And finally, we had our penultimate pre-season game today against a Norwegian team. I can't remember the name, so I'm about to check it out right this second now. But what we do know is that Solskjaer's son made his debut for that team, playing against, of course, his dad. So that was a special moment for the Solskjaer family. The team's name in Norway is Kristiansand, and we won that game 1-0, a Mata penalty in the 93rd minute. Solskjaer wasn't best pleased about the performance. It was a bit lackluster. We didn't have the same energy. One, that I guess we've had throughout the pre-season, and 2, what he's going to expect come August the 11th, our first game of the season. But he said she's sure when there is 3 points on the to play for, the intensity will be there. We did have a number of chances, a number of shots though. That being said, McTominay hit the post. Rashford had a couple of shots. Keeper made very good saves, to be fair. And it was one in the 92nd minute through Juan Mata, won and scored the penalty. Make it 5 wins out of 5 in the pre-season. We've got one more game against AC Milan. And then it's all systems go. Who those players are, we have to wait and see. Pre-season has been good in terms of the intensity and the mood around the camp is much different to last year under Jose. The results themselves have been good, but they're neither here nor there, but you don't want to lose. So if you can match a good result with a good performance and good atmosphere, then you give yourself the best chance to start the season well. It doesn't guarantee anything, but you'd rather be on this side of the coin than the other. But as I said, the news today is, this late night news, is that a deal has been agreed in principle between Juventus and Manchester United for a swap transfer between Lukaku of Manchester United and Dybala of Juventus. All is left is for Manchester United and Dybala to come to an agreement on a contract, and this deal will be done. Make sure you hit that like and subscribe button, guys. A lot of content coming for you. You've seen me on the Football Dugout over on Have a Football Hut. You've seen me over on the Football Terrace with the new show, The Best of the Rest. And there's much, much more to come. The podcast is back this week. Recording on Thursday. It'll be out for you on Friday. A lot coming. Make sure you stay tuned.